Welcome to Conversations. I'm your host, Isis, and today we are speaking with a very artistic and creative young lady here in the ATL. She has sparked a number of poetic events throughout the downtown area. And she's going to talk to us today about her creativity, where it comes from, and then we're just going to have girl talk. So, welcome to Conversations, and this is Miss Lady V.
Hey there.
All right, so tell everybody about yourself.
Well, I'm LadyVee Da Poet. I'm the co-organizer of the coffee group. That's meetup.com/COFFIE. And we're a group of about 1,800 people that just love the arts. I mean, we love cultural events. We love spoken word, jazz, all types of cultural events. And Atlanta is a mecca for that type of, entertainment. I'm also the host of the Do You Lyric Lounge. It's every second Saturday, an open mic variety show. And I'm also the host of the Unleashed Open Mic. So that's every fourth Saturday at Copper Blue at a brand new venue downtown. So definitely on top of being an author, being a workshop facilitator, I love the open mic shows because you get to go out and, listen to all the different styles and stuff, get inspired. So it's very, very cool.
So you have a lot going on, even with your introduction.
Yes.
It's like a lot going on. What sparked you to get started, even with poetry? Let's just start from the heart of it.
Well, back in the day, like back in middle school and high school and everything, I found poetry as a way to be therapy for me. I had some feelings, emotions that I was too shy to tell my friends. I was too shy to tell people that I didn't want them, to think this way or that way about me, but I had a journal. And so I'm just like, hey, I can write it down. I can, put my feelings out and, go through it with poetry. And then when I started getting the butterflies out and performing it, that's when everything sparked.
Okay.
I saw people get up on stage and they had like such emotion, and the people in the audience were like, man, they really related to it. And so when I got up on stage and did it for the first time, I was hooked. I'm just like, I can't stop doing this.
For you.
Exactly, because I saw people's eyes in the audience light up, and I saw, of course you get addicted to applause. It's like everybody loves applause. But it's just a feeling to know that you're not the only one out there feeling that way. And so you get to connect with a lot of people, and it's just a really great feeling to know that everybody gets connected with the words that we speak and the emotions that we share with each other.
Good stuff. Now, one thing that you said that I agree with as well is the fact that we have to be relatable. The thing that really sparks interest in people, in us in relationships, is when they feel like they can relate to you.
Right.
They really catch on to a lot of things. Now, the reason I'm bringing that up is because a lot of our young people feel like no one relates to them.
Exactly.
And it's a big disconnect between adults and young people. Why do you feel, and I know you've implemented some youth-based ventures using this same, using poetry to actually do that, connect. So can you talk about that, and how do you think, that connection using poetry is going to bring a connect or bridge the gap between adults and young people?
Well, I definitely believe, I've heard a saying before a long time ago, it's just like, it's better to pick up a pen than a gun. And so it's just like, I see a lot of teens, they kind of think that the world doesn't understand them. Right. They got the teen angst and all this type of thing. But when you get them in a room full of other teens that might be feeling the same way, they don't feel as bad, and they get their feelings out and things like that. Right. With the Do You Lyric Lounge, it's at a coffee house, and so they don't sell alcohol there or whatever, and I encourage the people, to bring their daughters or bring their sons or whatever, because so that way they can, hear adults and younger people get up on stage and do their thing. Mm-hmm. Like my hometown of Augusta that I love, at the Arts in the Heart, we have a open mic at the Troubadour stage. Okay. It's kind of like the performing artist stage of the Arts in the Heart. Mm-hmm. And so that's a really family-oriented event in itself with the different cultures and things. And I encourage so many young people to come out and listen to people of different cultures do poetry, because then that really ties it in, saying, well, I feel this way, but this Oriental person feels the same way. This Indian person feels the same way. It's like, man, different cultures all have the same kind of heart and emotions. Right. So it's really helpful to get that out and, to relate to people of different cultures as well.
Well, tell us a little bit about your background. How were you raised? How was your family life? All that good stuff.
Oh, you're going digging deep, huh? Well, yeah. Growing up, I guess I would say where my name came from, LadyVee Da Poet. I was growing up in a household where, when we sat down at the table, you cross your legs and you sit up straight. And, both my parents were teachers. So you talk, you enunciate well. And I grew up, and some people say, you're acting all too goody two shoes or whatever. Yeah, but I think some of that, not to the extreme, of course, but some of that is really, really important when you talk about young girls and the way that they should, conduct themselves.
Right.
It's not sitting there like, you have to always, have a book on your head and walk straight and all this type of thing. But when you get older and you get into the corporate world or you get into adult situations, the stuff that I learned back when I was 5 and 6, my mama told me, always keep your head up. That is what a 30-year-old and a 40-year-old should do too. Always keep your head up and don't walk around like you're depressed.
Right, that's good stuff.
So yeah, I give props to my mama and my dad because I grew up in a household knowing that there were rules, there were standards, and there would be punishments if you didn't follow those rules and standards. Yeah, so my growing up was pretty much letting me know that I had a standard to follow, and they would be proud of me if I did follow it.
Wow, that's good stuff. And that also inspired the positivity, like you said. Hold your head up.
Yes.
Never feel like you're always down or depressed, and so that kind of sparks and inspires your creativity as we, up to today, right? The positivity.
And if you are down and depressed, write a poem about it. We can talk about it. Yes.
Now you did say something about being able to enunciate your words.
Right.
I will never forget when I was in radio in Augusta. I used to get this all the time. People would say, "Oh, you look nothing like you sound," and I'm like, "Okay, what did you expect me to look like?" And they're like, "Oh, you would be tall, light skinned, long hair." And I'm like, "Oh, really? I didn't know it comes like that."
It was supposed to be that way.
And then there was this one guy. He says, "Well, you pronounce your words well, so I would have never thought you were dark skinned."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I really don't understand why for black women especially, it's almost taboo to enunciate, to speak properly.
Well, I want to add that a lot of people think, and I guess you would say the ethnic people with natural hair and stuff like that, they're supposed to have it's always the stereotype, you're supposed to be this way. And when you go outside the box, it's just like, they get shocked. It's like, wait a minute, everybody else doesn't do that.
Right.
But then again, you're not everybody else, you're ISIS.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, a lot of people have their preconceived notions of how they think you should act or whatever. And I want to add to that, when I do spoken word, I get up there and I do my poem or whatever, and they're like, wait a minute, you don't have dreadlocks. You're not walking up to the stage with you got shoes
feet,
on. Oh my
okay.
goodness. You don't have a flowing poetry
Where's
dress.
the incense?
Right. And I've dealt with that, in the beginning or whatever. I walk up there and everybody just, just sit back and look at their phone and like, she ain't got nothing to say.
Right.
And that forced me to have something to say, to kind of prove to them, yeah, I don't have dreadlocks, I don't look like y'all, but I have something really powerful to say.
Wow.
And that pushed me to be more than what they thought I could be.
And what can we do? What can we do as positive black images for women, especially our young women? What can we do to break those stereotypes?
I think the most important thing to do is be the example. We can sit around, we can have talks and forums about it or whatever, but if you're not living it and they don't see it, then they won't think it's okay. They won't think it's normal. So I think in a situation where, if you're a mentor, if you're just a regular person, if you're acting hood, if you're acting a fool, then you can expect the kids growing up think, oh yeah, that's how I'm supposed to act. I don't have to, hold myself up to a standard or whatever. I can just be slack and stuff. So my big thing is that I want to be the example of what I want to portray to the younger generation and portray to everyone else. If you're that, then they'll see that it is okay to be that way.
Okay, so what is next for LadyVee?
Like in my 5-year plan or tomorrow? Okay. Well, definitely. Right now, specifically right now, I have 2 open mic shows in Atlanta, and I'm starting my creative writing workshops in the summer. I'm connecting with Mark Goggins of the Black Poetry Cafe, and he brings his event to Atlanta all the time, but now he wants to add like a workshop component. And I did it last year with him, and it went really, really well, so I'm definitely going to start that again. But in the 5-year plan right now, I'm feeling very constrained with other people's rules and venues. So it's just like, I walk in, I have a vision, and then they tell me, well, this is the list of things you can do.
Right.
And that, it's just like, that's a pet peeve of mine so bad. Because when you have this big vision in your brain and you can't do it, Do You Lyric Lounge needs its own building.
It does.
Yes.
It is awesome. Do You Lyric Lounge is awesome.
I'm putting
If
that
you
out in
guys
the
have
atmosphere.
never been there, you need to go check out a Do You event. It is amazing. I love it.
Thank you
It's
so
just
much.
fun.
It's just, I know so many people. I have so many contacts. Like Rod Smith, he used to own a coffee house. He knows how to run it. I want to have like a cafe in there. I want to have an event space, an auditorium workshop space. And it's just like, I think that if I save up, if I get with the right investors or whatever, the right sponsors and stuff, I could really make it happen. But it's going to have to, it's going to have to be planned and organized. But definitely that is in the 5-year plan.
My name is Danilo Ignacio for Copper, Blue, and Media Handlers, and you are watching one of the most fabulous shows around. I do hear that girl.com, and you're watching Conversations. Stay tuned for a whole lot more right here on one of the hottest websites that you could be watching TV on.
Shoni D Designs. We specialize in graphic and fine art. Brand your business professionally and affordably. Visit us online today at shonid.wix.com/ShoniDArt.
Time to turn your radio out, where the praises never stop. Learning laughter, so much fun. This show is for everyone.
IHearThatGirl.com, the premier website for all women. Fashion, inspiration, entertainment, and more. Log on today. www.IHearThatGirl.com.
Awesome. Now, we're talking about plans for our future. And some people feel like their plans for the future that they've set in the past can sometimes bring them down when they realize I'm getting really close to that goal date
Right.
and I'm not making it. What do you say to a person who had a 5-year plan for their life? They're on year 4 and it still looks 5 more years down the road. What do you say to someone, a young lady who has a vision and she's this close to the goal date that she set in her head, but feels so far from the goal?
I would say research more contacts because the stuff that you can't do, there could be 4 or 5 people that you don't even know about that have those resources.
Yes.
And most of the time when it comes to like the deadline where you're looking at your calendar like, oh my gosh, I don't do it. It's like because you don't have the funding, you don't have like the building, you don't have like certain things that other people can help you with.
Right.
So once you get that other people, once you get that support system, then you can, it may hurt you to push it off a couple of more months or whatever, a couple more years maybe, but you'll feel so much more confident when you have a team behind you that believes in that vision and can help you with it instead of you're out there doing it by yourself.
Right. I think we kind of like stagnate ourselves when we worry so much about the number, like this year is when I wanted to have it done, instead of just working towards the goal and not necessarily the year that you wanted to get it done.
And if you're working by yourself, it's going to take a lot longer.
Right. Okay. So, finally, when I wrap this up, I always ask the question, what is your legacy? What do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy, 3 words: quality creative expression. I mean, that is my... For so many years, I just gone to open mic shows and I've gone to different events and things like that, and it's just like this could be so much better. In my mind, I'm just like, people have something to say, but it could be organized better. It could be presented in a fashion where, people don't feel threatened, or people don't feel like, you walk in, you need the secret password and the secret handshake in order to get into the door. I've always been against, people feeling uncomfortable when they come in as like a clique or whatever. So it's just like, in my mind, when I go around to different places, I take notes. And I'm just like, I want my legacy to be just showcasing, and my motto is providing stages and microphones to voices that need to be heard.
Wow.
Yeah, so that is definitely those two things: quality creative expression and providing a stage for voices that need to be heard, and that's everybody.
Yeah. Okay. How do you feel about religion? What's your stance on religion? Because I know when we come in here, your events don't have a theme.
Right.
Like,
It's
there's
open mic
yeah,
variety.
it's everything. You have your religious poetry. You have your intimate poetry, erotica, everything in one.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is your stance on religion?
My stance personally, or for my shows? Personally, I'm a spiritual person. I go to, in Augusta, I go to a non-denominational church, Whole Life Ministries, plug. But yeah, personally, my stance on religion is that I'm a spiritual person. I know that there's a higher power, but I'm not Baptist, I'm not Christian, I'm spiritual. So I do know some people that are, diehard conservative Christians, and they walk out of my open mic sometimes when an erotic poet gets on stage. But I like to open it up saying this is an open mic variety show. You can get up there and sing gospel, you can get up there and as long as you don't offend anybody in the audience, I'm fine with it. But personally, my stance on religion is that I'm a spiritual person, and I believe I pretty much have proof that God has a hand on my life. I always say that He walks before me, and He speaks for me, and has His angels all around me.
And that is so true.
So yeah, like most of my partners in the coffee group, Roderick is like the main co-organizer, and he's the choir director at his church. And so he brings like some people from his church and things like that. And I try to definitely be respectful to them, but I want to be open-minded, and I want to be saying this is an open mic variety. You can do whatever you want to. If you're offended, then I'm sorry. You can close your ears or go and leave or whatever. But my stance on religion is that I'm a spiritual person. I know that there is a God, and He has a hand on my life.
Well, that's I think that is the most important part. What God wants is for us to all feel included, no one to feel offended.
Right.
So I think you give an atmosphere where people can feel like I can just walk in here and there's no judgment, nothing like that. I can just be myself, and that's really where you get the do you.
Yeah, do you to the
really
fullest.
Be yourself. Come in, and whatever it is that you do you.
I like to say that we have the most encouraging audience in Atlanta, and it's a bold statement to say, but it's like whenever I'm hosting the show, I mean, people afterwards they're curious. There's some people at my show that's never heard a spoken word ever.
Wow.
They come in, they're like, oh, live literature, live poetry. I'm like, yeah, it's like, I'm just like, a dramatic poetry, but it's so cool because I know that there's a lot of diversity with that. It's a lot of older people, younger people, they bring their teenagers and stuff like that, and it's just expression for everybody. And that's what makes my show unique and special, because you walk in, you'll see white people sitting next to Indian people, sitting next to, Chinese people and black people, and it's just like, whenever they're doing poetry, you get all those inspiration from all the different styles. So I'm very, very blessed. And, we're talking about religion. I'm very blessed to be the host of such a show that you can walk in and feel like, nobody's going to throw rocks at me. Nobody's going to throw tomatoes at me. We're going to have a good time, and it's going to be a wonderful night of expression.
Right. Awesome conversation. LadyVee Da Poet.
Poetry snaps.
Make sure you guys check her out if you are in the Atlanta area. Do You Lyric Lounges every second
Saturday at Urban Grind Coffee House, 962 Marietta Street in the M Street apartment lofts. And every fourth Saturday is going to be at Copper Blue. Copper Blue is a brand new venue downtown, 117 Martin Luther King Drive. let's see, I would say in between Pryor and Peachtree Street. So definitely hit me up I put all my events on the coffee group, meetup.com/COFFIE, and also on Facebook, facebook.com/LadyVee Da Poet.
There it is. All right, guys, I want to say thank you for tuning in to Conversations, and stay tuned for our next in-depth conversation with positive women giving us positive images. Peace.
Next week on Conversations, I talk with Reen Ingenious Fisher.
That person. Don't be afraid to call that person when you're having a moment.
Right.
When you be doing all of that, you better get to dialing 678. What? You already know what it is.
You know I will.
You already know what it is. Because the people that's truly want it for you and believe in you, they're going to be there for you.